Hey everyone, Jay from This Week in Hearthstone. Another Monday, looking at the meta, and I apologize for this. So, I like to sit there and set up these videos, and this week it's going to be a little different. It has to be different, because I'm trying to set up, if you're playing bronze through gold, decks that'll have above a 50% win rate, and with less than 5,000 arcane dust to craft these. And if you look at the last month's videos, I've covered all of them. There is nothing new. So we're going to do things a little bit differently because I don't want to deprive you all of content. Number one, win rates. Paladin is high, Hunter's high, Warrior is high. First thing this morning, Warrior was like above 50%. But listen, Mage, Druid, and Rogue are still lower. There is news or notifications, or there's just a heads up that there is going to be a balance patch soon. I was shocked that they didn't mention anything this week, but there is something coming because I believe that Paladin might need a little bit of a nerfing. It's been number one on the win rates for quite a while now. It's not bad, it's just, I see some of the new cards from the Audio Apocalypse mini set, especially for Paladin, just being a little too strong. So we're going to go over, like I said, if you look at every one of these decks that are above 50% win rates, they're all items we talked about. I mean, we've talked about Blood and Frost and Unholy. We've talked about those until we're blue in the face. We've talked about Hunter decks. We talked about Paladin, Druid, what have you. Cool thing is, like I said, and I say this every week, every class has at least one deck above 50% win rate. So what I want to do is I want to look at the cards that are being played right now, all of the cards that are out in standard, and looking at all the neutral cards and then breaking those down by class to see, hey, which ones are being played the most across all classes. Obviously, Astalor is still supreme. It's still reigning. It's still good. It's in 38.1% of all decks being played right now. Nerubian YEsvcEs right here. We've mentioned both of these before, so there's no shock here. If you have an undead, tech in your deck, throwing this in there, absolutely. I was messing around with the Mage this weekend, and I'm seeing some of the Mage decks have this in with only one or maybe two undeads in there, so it's pretty big. And then School Teacher, it's been around for a while, it's not going anywhere. We're going to go through and let's start breaking down each class, and this would be no shock to you that Nerubian YEsvcEs is at 88.0% of all Death Knight decks. Doesn't shock me. Same with School Teacher, same with Astalor. These are just three cards that you'll see very common across this. So if you don't have any of these cards, I would definitely consider crafting those. Looking at Demon Hunter, Silver Moon Arcanist, which is spell damage. This is helpful in many different ways. You use this with the lifesteal that does AoE lifesteal, and then boom, you're healed all the way back up. Hey, look, where have we seen this one before? Nerubian YEsvcEs right there. School Teacher right there. So it's all of the same in this. Looking at Druid. Druid's a little bit funny. Druid right now is at the worst it's been recently. And there's a couple of decks out there. There's a Tony Druid, and then there's a Big Druid, and then I saw Clark Hellscream do something with Undead Druid. It looks super fun. I just don't think they're fully baked yet. But look at this. Astalor Bloodsworn, number one in all Druid decks. ETC Band Manager's in there, and it makes perfect sense. This was a free card, and I think I've mentioned it probably 2 or 3 times. If you don't have this in your deck, absolutely consider putting this in. And then Stoneborn General, which is a good 10 mana card, and usually you can break that out much faster than with 10 mana. The Druid decks that I'm seeing, the ones that I was, looking at, I think the one that Clark Hellscream was using this week, utilizes the Jailer pretty well. It's kind of like a big Druid, but it's a big undead Druid. I'm not going to go ahead and post anything yet of this deck. Maybe I will. I don't know, but definitely give Clark Hellscream a follow to see what he did. It looks pretty cool. I just don't think it's 100% ready yet. Let's look at Hunter. Hunter is Vicious Slither Spear. This has been around for a while. This isn't going anywhere. You most likely have a copy of this. Same with Astalor. Hey, look, Astalor. Posic Audio Engineer. I see it in a lot of decks. It looks popular. I haven't personally played it. I've played against it, and usually I throw that 4-mana 5/4. I mean, if I'm playing against it and Pozic goes down on the board, I get those 2/3/3 bots. I'm normally throwing those out right away just to get rid of it, and then boom, he doesn't get it back. So I guess a 5/4 for 4 mana is in there, and putting some things in my hand that might jam up my my card draw. I don't know. School teacher, there's another one. Definitely, school teacher should be a craft. It's very, very utility, and it's very good, and it's been around for a while now. Mage, Astalor, number 1. Nerubian Vizier, number 2, and then Prince Renethal. The deck size is 40, your starting health is 35. So there is some opportunities there for you to throw a whole bunch of spells with Prince Renethal in there to make a higher amount of spells in your deck, and just go through a war of attrition to where you just keep on picking off their minions and then hitting them in the face. But mage is also it's not a huge it's not a huge class being played right now. I think it's number 7 of the top 10 classes. Next one, this is Paladin, and Rivendare War Rider is in here. It's 8% of decks. This doesn't make any sense. Just want to make sure. The reason that's not... Okay, this makes perfect sense now. I apologize. The reason you see such low percentage in the decks of all these neutral cards is because everybody's playing Pure Paladin, because Pure Paladin is just amazing right now. That's why there's not a lot of these in there. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for walking through that with me. Priest, Prince Renethal, Astalor, Foul Egg, makes sense. Right now, one of the biggest things, I saw that Control Priest was moving a little bit, but right now it's just Undead Aggro Priest, and these two makes perfect sense. And look, Astalor's in here again. I'm sensing a pattern, are you? Let's look at Rogue. Rogue, Astalor, Queen Ashara, and Sketchy Stranger. I mean, this makes sense too, with Sketchy Stranger being so high, because Rogue's abilities and Rogue's really their tech right now has been just, taking other things from other classes and using it to your advantage. Nothing huge and monumentally different with how it has been. Like I said, Astalor is number 1. Let's look at Shaman, Amalgam of the Deep. That's another card. Hopefully you guys have at least 1 copy, if not 2. This is a great card. 2 mana to just choose a friendly minion and discover it. It could be helping you out of certain jams, absolutely. This one has a deck win rate of 61.7%. I would absolutely put this in there. Tour Guide, it's been around for a little bit. Your next hero power is 0. I see this being used. I believe this is in Totem Shaman. And, for you to have a hero power with 0 with a Totem Shaman, that's a good thing. Let's look at Warlock. Flesh Behemoth. I think I'm saying that completely wrong. 9 mana, 4/8, Taunt, Death Rattle, draw another undead and summon a copy of it. Yeah, that and Thaddeus and Sir Finley. So yeah, this is a Jailer deck, or this is a Thaddeus deck for Warlock. So that makes perfect sense that these are in here. I'm not seeing any shocking situations for this. ETC Band Manager, like I said, it's a good card. You guys should use it. Warrior. Warrior's popping off a little bit. I think we've seen it for the past 2 weeks now, and especially since Audiopocalypse was released, we're starting to see more and more Warrior decks. I think Enrage is right now the highest win rate, and then I think, let's see, maybe Control or Menagerie, but there is a couple of decks to where a month ago there was no Warrior decks that were above 50% win rate. So Foul Leg, makes sense. Foul Leg and Instrument Tech, draw a weapon. You need that. Alchema Light of Pain, Lorthamar, and 1 Amalgam Band. I think I might have seen this card played against me once, and I've never played it. But it's very popular. Maybe I've seen it maybe more than once, but I haven't seen anything significant that way. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post the links below to all of the videos that have decks that are most recently higher win rates with lower Arcane Dust spend. But hopefully we'll see a mini set. Hopefully we will see some sort of nerfs this week. We'll go through. I would consider, if you are looking to spend any time playing, you want a high win rate and a low cost deck, stick with Death Knight. Okay, any one of the Death Knight decks are good for you, and they're very low cost. And then stick with the aggro priest. Both of those decks will get you through. Last week I talked about a weapon rogue, or it was just a really low-cost rogue deck. It didn't really do anything. It wasn't really anything that shot off yet. I still think there's something there. I still think that should be something that you would at least give it a try. And remember, a 50% win rate is still, there has to be some sort of skill by the player. So you got to get used to some of these decks. Any of these decks that I'm talking about, and from the beginning, you're really not going to get a good idea until you're like 10 or 20 games in of that deck to see how well it pilots, just because of how many cards they're in. So don't get discouraged if your win rate is really low when you're trying these decks. That's intended. I mean, I would go through, and before I was absolutely confident in my ability to play Pure Paladin or what have you, I needed many games to get that going. Right now, because Priest is such a low play rate for me, it would have taken me probably 30-40 games to do that Control Priest from like 2 expansions ago when that was pretty popular. So don't get discouraged, keep on grinding, and thanks for watching. Let me know if there's any other types of videos you'd like to see. I'm working on a bunch of stuff, including a tournament. So a tournament is coming soon. I'm hoping end of July I can put that together. It's going to be as evenly matched as possible, so anybody can play, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for newer players that want that tournament experience, that have never done this before, so I'm going to try to make it as even as a playing field as possible. So thank you so much. Have a good week, and like and subscribe.